it is about new ideas and new ways to make money.
Well, an enterprising person to me is a person who has ideas, who has new ideas, who kind of takes the material they've got and looks at it in new ways and then acts on those. So it's not just business to me, it's like putting a course together, it could be, or the way you put a course over, you can synthesise something new.
Okay, well, what is enterprise? Well, I think from my perspective, enterprise is really any activity that we do outside of the university that generates income. So it might be consultancy, it might be knowledge transfer projects, it may be some project that's funded by one of the research organisations, or it may be something that's done for a smaller organisation or even for a charity. But it has to generate income, and that's my key with it. I think there are some enterprise activities that are in our core activity. For example, we could in fact be developing collaborator partners, other colleges, perhaps private colleges, who will run programmes, degree programmes, master's programmes, and we will then charge them a considerable amount of money perhaps for doing that. And that's a form of enterprise that's part of our core activity. But as long as it generates income, it's enterprise.
What is enterprise? Enterprise is one of the most important things for our small to medium enterprises. It's absolutely essential that we develop this in our students, despite the fact that they might go and work for large organisations. It's about ensuring that we are proactive in the development of ideas and how we can actually develop those ideas into products or services and get them out to the marketplace. That is what enterprise is about initially. But enterprise also is about developing people and really ensuring that they understand how a business works. And that's what we do here. That's why we do the events management projects. That's why I developed it like that, so they can actually go out and talk to people and sell their ideas.
My interpretation of enterprise is how you use your skills, your knowledge and ability, and develop your own capabilities further, so how enterprising you are as
Okay, so enterprise for me, I think primarily, when I think of enterprise, I obviously relate to enterprise and my students and the wonderful opportunities that they have here at MMU. And I think enterprise for them, they're often confused and they think it's all about working for themselves, earning lots of money. And I think with units like the group consultancy and other sort of similar projects, what they are introduced to is the concept of being creative, using their own skills, their own experiences, and being able to sort of combat real life experiences for businesses, both at home but also on a global basis as well. And I think that opens the doors in terms of future employment opportunities for them, so that they can perhaps look at the possibilities of in the future working as a consultant, as well as perhaps engaging in their own business.
Enterprise, from my point of view as a lecturer, I see it engaging students at the point of entry to university to take creative ideas, business ideas, push them forward while they're at university, and when they leave university, be able to take those ideas and become fully fledged business owners, entrepreneurs. So, but what you tend to find in university is that because of system procedures, way of teaching, it may hinder people taking on ideas. So it needs staff to really push an individual or push ideas and allow people to have confidence to take their ideas forward, because sometimes this is the best forum for them to see an idea flourish. When they leave university, they've got so many other restrictions they need to deal with. So I think university has the ability to take entrepreneurial enterprise ideas from young people and really look at the feasibility.
Okay, so you asked a question about enterprise. What I believe enterprise is, really is interacting and sharing of knowledge between individuals, between communities, between faculties, and I think what is needed within Hollings to share that enterprise with others is really to get out into the community and share it, not necessarily to work with other faculties abroad or universities abroad, but why don't we work from the ground level up with other people in the communities, and there's one department that's actually doing that. You might want to speak to is Diane and Ian, who are working with schools, and that's all part and parcel of enterprise. It's really down to the sharing of knowledge and the sharing of experience and working with people or students from a young age. And that's what I believe enterprise is. It's not necessarily always has to be on a global platform, but it can be very local.
What is enterprise? Enterprise is being able to respond to requests for innovation, looking at research, looking at applied technology, and trying to help industry, help the outside world. It doesn't necessarily need to be industry, it could be people. So perhaps I'm constraining enterprise to research too much there. Enterprise is having the thoughts and putting the thoughts into practice, and the thoughts being developing an idea onwards. In terms of this university, we're good at generating those ideas, we're good at having those thoughts, we're good at talking to industry and everyone else. What we are lacking is systems whereby we can then transfer those thoughts into practice. There seems to be a lot of barriers in the university in terms of finance or in legal or those sorts of things, wanting to restrain our ideas, restrain our thoughts. And enterprise has to be fluid, has to be dynamic, and if you've got constraints on you, it's very difficult to act in that type of environment. Also, when you're looking at the enterprise activities that we get involved in, we have to be very responsive, and again in the university environment that responsiveness is very limited. We can't drop everything and work on an enterprise idea or project or activity. It would be nice to have a little bit of more free time, freedom to respond to very quick calls on the telephone or emails, so that we can generate more enterprise activities. So saying sort of, some of the enterprise activities that the individual members of staff have responded to, looking at helping out with industries in the locality, small and medium-sized enterprises, helping in marketing or helping in product formulation, helping some of the hotels and restaurants. All that is very entrepreneurial. So I think we've got a good potential here. We have got elements of good practice, but we've got to get over the constraints.
Okay, my opinion of enterprise is actually going out and finding out what people want, and then bringing that in-house and actually producing what the companies that we're going to work with want on their level and delivering it to within their timescales. We need, one thing that we are particularly bad at the university is actually going out to find work. More often than not we wait for the work to come to see us. And the other thing is we never really deliver on time. There's always hidden agendas, lots of things that take an awful lot of time to actually organise, particularly in terms of the bureaucracy, and really the people we want to work with want the answers yesterday, if not first thing tomorrow morning.
I think in terms of barriers, I would say there is so much happening, so much that I'm aware of, but it isn't seen collectively. I think, and in terms of one department and one voice, and how we're all singing from the same hymn tune. So I think lots of people do very similar pieces of work, with their students as well as for their own consultancy, but it doesn't have the opportunity to come together.
I think to be able to enterprising is going beyond the confines that you've got. So any structure that's too rigid will inhibit enterprise. So if we have too rigid a course structure or a unit structure, it's going to prohibit lecturers from being enterprising. And if we're too constrained about how students earn their academic credits, that can constrain their enterprise. And sometimes it's money and access to money, and that can be a big constraint. So flexibility, lack of flexibility, lack of money.
The barriers are all these sort of contract procedures and the admin procedures, knowing exactly who to ask for what you need. It could be that you ask one person, it's one set of documents, you ask another person, it's another set of documents. It's about the whole process. There's nothing sort of specifically set down. This is the process, and that's one of the difficulties I think most people probably experience about it.
The barriers, I would have to say, the biggest barrier I would have to say is workload and time to do enterprise. Just like, you know, you need time to do research, you also need time to do enterprise. And it's very hard to juggle. As much as we all want to do everything, we all want to do everything well, and it's very hard to do everything well. So I think time allocated to a group of people or a couple of people who want to do enterprise, it needs them to focus on just doing that enterprise. Yes, it can marry in with teaching, but not too much other things, because, you know, it's just time consuming, and if you want to do it well, then you need time on
I
your side.
think my tip is that you have to listen to what industry are looking for. Listen to what the client wants and try to deliver. The difficulty you will have is delivering and getting that delivery through the university systems.
Okay.
I think as a department, maybe we need to encourage more people doing enterprise and projects. Not only staff can build up their research and project profile, but also it is good to build up the reputation for the department. So when in 2012 apparently the tuition fee is going up, and the enterprise project going to be the third stream to bring revenue to the university. So any university to survive, they would have to focus on project and enterprise.